This is not a concert. This is a classroom. This is not entertainment. This is equipment. I did not come to impress you. I came to protect you. Write this down. Power without vision is danger. Say it again so your heart hears it. Power without vision is danger. If you only learn to be impressed, you will be oppressed. Tonight, we are shifting from sensation to specification, from applause to assessment. We are going to save years, not minutes. This is training. I am not impressed with power. I require direction. Say it with me, loud and clear. I am not impressed with power. I require direction. Again, I am not impressed with power. I require direction. Leadership is not measured by volume. It is measured by destination. The first and fastest test of a leader is not how strong, but where. Write this down. Vision is more important than leadership. Why? Because where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29-18. God told us that long before social media told us who to follow. If the blind lead the blind, both fall into a pit. Matthew 15:14. The problem is not the walking, it's the sight. Power can move you faster. Only vision can move you rightly. Let me give you a picture. Years ago, fictional, but familiar, I boarded a bus in a city buzzing with promises. The driver had tattoos of lightning bolts, the engine thundered like a storm, and the crowd cheered. I asked, "Sir, where are we going?" He shouted back, "You'll love it." I tried again. "Where?" He revved the engine. "Hold on." I stepped off that bus. Why? Because loud engines without clear addresses are kidnappers with keys. Write this down. Charisma can rev the engine. Only clarity holds the map. You don't need to be rude. You need to be resolute. Protection is not suspicion. It is stewardship. God's design has always been destination first. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Dominion implies territory. Territory implies boundaries. Boundaries imply maps. You were not created to be dragged around by strong personalities. You were designed to navigate by a revealed purpose. Say this with me. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. Your life is too precious to rent to unclear people. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. Leadership is born when toleration ends. Tonight, toleration of vagueness ends. Write this down. The first question for any leader is where? Not how loud, not how long, not how famous. Where? If they cannot answer where clearly and quickly, you already have enough data to slow down or walk away. Jesus did not trust crowds. He trained protégés. He repeatedly said, "I must go to Jerusalem." Destination. He told fishermen, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men." Process toward a place. He set his face like flint. Isaiah 50:7. That is leadership, sight before stride. I am going to speak hard because I love you. Many of you lost 3 years. 5 years, 10 years, because you were impressed by power but never demanded direction. A relationship with fireworks and no compass. A job with big budgets and no mission. A church with high decibels and low destination. You shouted, but you didn't arrive. Write this down. Movement is not progress. Activity is not advancement. Noise is not navigation. Protection saves time, and time is life. When you protect your life with questions, you are not being rebellious, you are being responsible. Say this out loud. I am responsible for where I end up. One more time. I am responsible for where I end up. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. If your belief system worships power, you will follow noise. If your belief system requires direction, you will follow a map. And you will also know when to drive your own car. Trapped in every follower is a hidden leader. Tonight, I'm speaking to the leader in you. You were created to lead and designed to dominate by function, not by bullying. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Your work demands a destination. This session will give you a filter so simple a teenager can use it, and so strong a CEO cannot bypass it. We will teach you to test power with place, to ask for the address, to insist on measures, milestones, values, route, and pace. We will expose the difference between a megaphone and a map. And listen carefully. When you change your questions, you change your future. Say it with me. I will change my questions. Again, I will change my questions. Write this down. The destination filter is the antidote to manipulation. Manipulation thrives in fog. Clarity kills control. Men and women who cannot state a destination depend on your emotions. Leaders who can show a map respect your mind. When you require direction, you take your life back from idols of energy. You take your time back from performers. You take your family back from drift. In the next moments, I will give you a practical checklist you can use tonight. Tonight in your dating, your marriage, your church, your team, your company. 7 questions that will either confirm a leader or expose a pretender. If the answers are missing or mushy, do not give years, give questions, or give distance. Before we go further, seal this in your subconscious. Put your hand on your heart and say it like a decree. I am not impressed with power. I require direction. Again, stronger. I am not impressed with power. I require direction. Leadership is the stewardship of destination. The first test is where. The second test is how. The third is why. But we begin with where, because without where, the rest is theater. Tonight, we choose protection over sensation, clarity over charisma, maps over microphones. You are not a spectator in this world. You are a steward. And stewards don't ride mystery buses. They verify the route, then lead. Now let's install the test. Write this down. A leader is a carrier of a clear, shared future. Not a performer, not a promoter, a carrier of a place. Say it with me, a place. Real leadership points, names, and dates a destination you can see and say together. Power can make you shout, destination makes you arrive. Jesus said, if the blind lead the blind, both fall into a pit, Matthew 15:14. Sight precedes stride. Direction determines safety. Write this down. The first responsibility of leadership is to answer where. Let me give you a picture from the laws of aviation. When you board a plane, the first voice you hear from the cockpit does not say, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard, we have powerful engines. No. The first sentence is always destination. We are going to Atlanta. Place first, then altitude, then weather, then time. Why? Because engines without a destination are missiles. When a leader begins with energy and ends without an address, you are in danger. Write this down. Enthusiasm is not evidence. Arrival is evidence. Vision is more important than leadership. I will say it again slowly for your heart. Vision is more important than leadership. Leadership without vision is mobilized confusion, organized movement toward nowhere. The Bible didn't say where there is no leadership, the people perish. It says where there is no vision, the people perish. Proverbs 29:18. That means a quiet person with a clear map is safer than a loud person with a foggy future. Say it with me. Clarity over charisma. Now, here is the litmus that will save your years. Write this down in bold letters. If they cannot state the destination in one sentence and one timeline, you have enough data to slow down or walk away. One sentence, one timeline. That's the test. Where are we going? To debt-free status for our family by December next year? Clear. Where are we going? To a church that plants 2 new community centers by Q4. Clear. Where are we going? To a product that cuts client wait time by 40% in 12 months. Clear. Anything else is smoke. If you ask where and they say you'll see, that is not leadership, that is gambling with your life. Jesus modeled this relentlessly. He did not say, let's just go somewhere powerful. He said, I must go to Jerusalem. Luke 13:33. He set his face like flint toward a place, Isaiah 50:7. When he called fishermen, he didn't say, follow me and I'll hype you. He said, follow me and I will make you fishers of men. Destination embedded in identity. Sight, then stride. That's safe leadership. Write this down. God never sends people without a place. Let us make man and let them have dominion. Genesis 1:26. Dominion implies a domain, territory, boundaries, focus. God works by maps, not megaphones. Some of you are in relationships right now, fueled by power, chemistry, charisma, compliments, but there is no destination. You've been driving for 2 years with music on and the windows down, and you are still circling the same block. Tonight, love yourself enough to ask where. If the answer is, we're just seeing where this goes, then you already know it's going nowhere. Write this down. Movement without destination is drift, and drift is expensive. Let's confront our addiction. We love power because it gives us a feeling, but power is a stimulant. Vision is sustenance. Power moves people. Vision moves people on purpose. Power gathers crowds. Vision births communities. Power fills rooms. Vision builds rooms. Power can accelerate you into the wrong neighborhood. Vision escorts you to the right address. Stop renting your life to good feelings. Start investing your life in clear futures. Say it with me. I require an address. Here is how you use the test in real time. Ask where, then go silent. Don't feed them words. Don't save them. Don't help them. Watch. If the leader's eyes go up to the ceiling and they begin to speak in generalities, something big, a new season, about to shift, you just discovered fog. If they answer in one sentence and one timeline, you found foundation. You cannot build a house on a rumor. You need an address to pour concrete. I sat with a fictional CEO last week in my mind. He was very real in the way some of you have met him. Suit sharp, numbers loud, vision deck thick. I asked, where are you taking them? He clicked 42 slides. I stopped him at slide 3. Give me your destination in one sentence and one timeline. He paused. He smiled. He pivoted to market share. I stood up. I said, sir, I honor your energy, but I cannot lend my life to a labyrinth. Write this down. Maps fit in pockets. If the future cannot be carried in a sentence, you can't carry it in your spirit. Do not be afraid to slow down. The pit is always deeper than the pause is costly. When Jesus warned, if the blind lead the blind, he wasn't insulting the visually impaired. He was instructing the spiritually responsible. Sight is leadership. Sight is protection. Sight is love. When you demand a destination, you are not being rebellious, you are being righteous. You are protecting God's assignment in you. Say this, I am not an accident. I am an assignment. Assignments require addresses. So tonight, make a covenant with your future. Wherever you work, wherever you worship, whoever you walk with, ask for the address. One sentence, one timeline. If they cannot answer, where clearly and quickly you already have enough data to slow down or walk away. Your years are holy. Your children are watching. Your team is trusting. Your community is riding in the vehicle. Write this down. Ask where before you wear the t-shirt. Ask where before you sign the contract. Ask where before you say yes. Toleration ends tonight. Leadership is born when toleration ends. And the delivery room is a question. Where? Now let us go to the manufacturer. If you want to know how a product should function, you don't ask the customer, you ask the designer. Write this down. Design determines destiny, and misuse is inevitable when purpose is unknown. Genesis 1:26 is the blueprint. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion. The Hebrew word there, rad, means to rule, manage, govern by design. Not to oppress people, but to master a domain. Dominion implies domain. Domain implies boundaries. Boundaries imply maps. God did not create you to be impressed by power. He created you to be led by purpose. Say it with me. I was made for dominion, not for drift. Vision precedes leadership in God's order. Before Adam named anything, God gave him assignment and territory, the garden, to keep and cultivate. Vision is location plus function. Write this down. God always starts with place and purpose. Then he entrusts power to serve that purpose. That's why where is not rude, it is righteous. It is your original design speaking. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments require addresses. Now, the enemy knows design. He cannot steal your power, so he targets your picture. Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. The heart in Scripture is the subconscious, the control room of your life. Write this down. Belief precedes behavior. Deception always targets belief before it hijacks behavior. In the garden, the serpent did not grab Eve's hands, he grabbed her picture. Did God really say? He attacked vision to redirect decision. If I can cloud your where, I can control your steps. That's why hazy leaders are dangerous. They don't need a whip, they just need your fog. Jesus created a warning system for followership. He did not say, beware of weak leaders. He said, if the blind lead the blind, both shall fall into the pit, Matthew 15:14. Blindness is not the absence of legs, it is the absence of light. Psalm 119:105 declares, your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Lamp, then path. Sight, then steps. Revelation governs strategy. Write this down. Safe leadership begins with sight, not speed. If there is no lamp, do not walk fast. If there is no map, do not walk far. Habakkuk 2:2 reinforces it. Write the vision and make it plain, that he may run that readeth it. Read before you run, plain before pace. That is God's order. Let's make this tactile. Imagine a car engine. Pistons pumping, belts turning, a little $4 grounding wire humming quietly in the shadows. The car moves because hundreds of parts agree on one outcome, forward motion to a named destination. Now ask my favorite question. Who's the leader in the engine? The spark plug, the crankshaft, the steering wheel. Who's the leader? Say it with me. No one and everyone. Write this down. Leadership in God's design is functional, not positional. Each part leads in its function under a shared purpose and a declared route. Importance is contextual. A $4 wire can shut the whole car down. The steering wheel is not better than the brake pad. It's just different. Safety is in the interdependence submitted to a destination. That means safe followership is not blind submission to a superstar. It is intelligent agreement with a shared map. We are not cults of personality. We are communities of purpose. Jesus didn't build a crowd-based engine. He built a function-based body. Paul echoes it. Many members, one body. The eye cannot say to the hand, I don't need you, 1 Corinthians 12. The eye provides sight. The feet provide stride. If the eye loses vision, the feet become dangerous. If the feet refuse to move, the eye becomes frustrated. Vision and function must marry. Write this down. Vision defines direction. Function delivers it safely. Religious culture often reverses this. We clap for titles and tolerate fog. We give microphones to energy and ignore absence of maps. That is why churches, families, and companies have traffic noise, motion, events, and no arrival. I love the church. I am hard on fog. Jesus didn't like crowds. He trained clarity. He reduced the multitude to 12. And even among the 12, he took 3 to the mountain site before spread. He repeatedly said, I must go to Jerusalem. Destination as drumbeat. That is the pattern. Say this out loud. Sight first, then stride. Some of you have been guilted into following without light. Just trust me. No, write this down. Trust is not blind. Trust is built by clarity and consistency. When a leader gives you lamp word vision, values, and then walks the path by those values, that consistency earns your speed. But if a leader demands speed without lamp, that is a violation of design. Slow down. Ask for the address. Require the map. You are protecting the image of God in you. The image is vision. The likeness is function. Together they produce safe dominion. Let me drill this into your spirit with the engine again. Who keeps the car safe? Is it the brake, the windshield, the turn signals? Who's the leader? No one and everyone. Safety is a community project anchored to a destination. The turn signal is leadership and communication. The brake is leadership and restraint. The accelerator is leadership and propulsion. The GPS is leadership and vision. The seatbelt is leadership and protection. A car wreck happens When any function leads outside its lane or when the GPS is off. Write this down. Charisma without a compass is a crash in slow motion. Therefore, in your house, in your team, in your church, elevate vision and function over titles. Celebrate the lamp carriers, the ones who make it plain. Celebrate the quiet $4 wires who hold value systems steady. Celebrate the brakes who say not yet to preserve the children in the back seat. Celebrate the accelerators who say now after the map is clear. And above all, install the GPS, God's Word, as your ultimate sight. Because when revelation governs, strategy is safe. When sight is shared, speed becomes a blessing, not a threat. Write this down and seal it. God's design elevates vision and function over titles. Safe leadership starts with sight and shared purpose. Say it after me. Sight first. Shared purpose next. Speed last. Again, sight first. Shared purpose next. Speed last. When you align with that order, you will not be impressed by power. You will be instructed by purpose. And when purpose is in place, dominion becomes protection, not oppression. Your life, your family, your community, arriving together, on time, intact. Now let me unmask the counterfeit. Write this down. A false leader is loud about movement and quiet about arrival. Say it again so your spirit locks it in. Loud about movement, quiet about arrival. They shout about what's happening, but cannot tell you where you are going. They traffic in sensation, not destination. And if you are not trained, you will confuse fireworks for sunrise. We must talk about a dangerous word, charisma. In Greek, charisma is from charis, grace, a gift. A gift is not earned, it is given. That means someone can be gifted and still be undeveloped. Gifts impress. Character directs. Write this down. Charisma can open a door. Only character can build a house. Romans 11:29 says, the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. That's why gifts can perform, even when the heart is not reformed. Do not confuse performance with proof. Jesus gave us the metric. By their fruits you shall know them, Matthew 7:16. Not by their gifts. Fruit takes time, roots, seasons, and stewardship. Gifts are instant. Fruit is inevitable, only under cultivation. Let me expose the 4 V's of manipulation. Write this down in big letters. Number 1, vagueness. A false leader survives by fog. They keep things mystical, undefined, and moving, so you mistake cloud for glory. The Bible says that the trumpet gives an uncertain sound. Who shall prepare for battle? 1 Corinthians 14:8. Uncertain sound equals uncertain steps. If you ask where and receive poetry instead of a plan, you have located a fog machine, not a leader. Number 2, velocity, constant urgency. Everything is now or never. Sign today. Sold this minute. If you don't move right now, you'll miss God. Write this down. Speed without sight is a setup. Isaiah 28:16 declares, he that believes shall not make haste. Faith produces assurance, not panic. When pace becomes pressure without a map, you are not being led, you are being herded. Number 3, volume. Loud certainty. They shout to compensate for the absence of substance. Noise masquerades as knowledge. Remember, sound is not strategy. The Red Sea didn't part because Moses yelled. It opened because he obeyed precise direction. When a room gets louder as the answers get smaller, you are not in a briefing, you are in a concert. Number 4, visibility, photo ops, constant optics, spotlight addiction. Everything is curated, but nothing is measured. Write this down. Visibility without verifiability is vanity. True leaders are not against platforms, but their proof is not a camera roll. It is measurable fruit. Families healed, teams skilled, systems built, waste reduced, people developed, communities safer. If all you see is selfies and slogans, but you can't touch outcomes, you are being sold smoke. Here is the outcome difference, plain and simple. False leaders harvest loyalty. True leaders produce value. Say it with me. Fruit over fans. False leaders inflate attendance. True leaders increase capacity. False leaders count heads. True leaders grow hearts and hands. Ephesians 4:12 says the purpose of leadership gifts is for the equipping of the saints for the work of ministry. Equipping is measurable skills installed, functions improved, problems solved. If after months your competence hasn't grown and your life remains directionless, you are paying dues to a destination-less driver. I need to warn you with history's cold mirror. Cult collapses and corporate scandals share the same DNA, destination-less drive that drains people. In jungles and boardrooms alike, the script repeats charisma, urgency, secrecy, and then tragedy. A preacher with a megaphone but no map led souls into poison. Executives with perfect decks and no address led thousands into bankruptcy. Same elements: vagueness, velocity, volume, visibility, without verifiable value. Write this down. When destination is absent, people become fuel. And people are not fuel. They are the vehicle we protect. Jesus confronted this pattern straight on. Woe to you blind guides, Matthew 23:16. Not weak guides, blind. Ezekiel 34 rebukes shepherds who feed themselves and not the flock. That is the profile of manipulation. Harvest loyalty, consume resources, avoid accountability, and weaponize spirituality to silence questions. If you ask where, they accuse you of rebellion. If you ask for measures, they tell you don't put God in a box. If you ask for values, they say just trust me. Write this down. Trust is not the absence of questions. Trust is the fruit of clear answers, walked out consistently. Let me give you a fictional scene that is far too real. I sat across from a leader whose calendar was packed, whose brand was polished. I asked one sentence, where are you taking these people? He smiled and said, bigger than we can imagine. I said, give me one sentence and one timeline. He said, God is doing a new thing. I said, show me the map. He raised his voice. He increased the lights. He turned on music. That's when I knew the volume was an alibi for the vacuum. Write this down. When answers shrink, theatrics grow. How else will you know? They resist audits. They change metrics midstream. They promote the same two testimonies for 3 years while the foundation cracks. They replace honest review with revival language. They collapse accountability boards into best friend clubs. They make themselves the indispensable engine of everything and then claim exhaustion as proof of sacrifice. Remember our engine? In God's design, who's the leader? No one and everyone. Any system that requires one personality to be every part is not leadership, it is idolatry. Safety is distributed. Control is centralized. Choose safety. Now hear me with love. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. Write this down. Tolerating confusion funds control. As long as you keep paying attention, paying money, and paying years to fog, the fog will bill you. You are the account it drafts from. Stop the auto pay. Cancel the subscription to confusion. Say it with me. I will not finance fog. Again, I will not finance fog. Here is your protective reflex. Ask where. If the answer is mushy, do not argue measure. If the answer remains mushy, do not hate, create distance. Remember, you are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments require addresses. And a true leader will show you the map you can see, share, and scrutinize, because real leadership is not afraid of light. It was born to walk in it. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119 to 105. Lamp first, path next. That is how we protect your life and our community from charisma without a compass. Now let me install the operating system. Write this down. Real leadership marries a clear destination to protected pathways and a pace that preserves people. Say it with me. Destination, protection, pace. Again, destination, protection, pace. If you forget everything else, remember this triad. It is the difference between an expedition and a stampede. Engine one is vision, where vision is the concrete future state anyone on the team can repeat accurately. Not poetry, not mystery, not something big. A shared sentence and a shared timeline you can teach to a child and defend in a boardroom. Habakkuk 2:2 said, write the vision, make it plain, that he may run who reads it. Plain means reproducible. Write this down. If it is not repeatable, it is not reliable. The pilot doesn't whisper the destination to the co-pilot and leave the passengers guessing. The destination is broadcast because the destination governs decisions. Vision answers budget questions, hiring questions, calendar questions, even friendship questions. Where are we going? If you cannot answer that, sit down. If you can stand up and say it the same way every time until your people can say it without you in the room. Engine 2 is values, how and why. Values are the non-negotiable rules of the road. They are the lines on the highway and the guardrails on the cliff. Values tell you what you will not do to get there. Write this down. If the how violates heaven, the where is illegal. Jesus asks, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? Mark 8:36. That's a values question. Joseph had a vision of rulership, but he preserved it with values. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? Genesis 39:9. His no protected his yes. Values are why Daniel could serve kings without being owned by them. He resolved not to defile himself. Daniel 1:8. Write this down. Vision without values is vandalism. You will break people to build platforms. You will mortgage character to pay for momentum. And God will not finance that debt. When values are corroded, vision stalls. Let me extend our car. Your organization can be a $60,000 engine, talent, capital, technology, brand, or humming. But a neglected $4 ground wire, an unchecked value like honesty, stewardship, sexual integrity, truth in reporting can shut the whole thing down on the highway with your family in the back seat. Ask Enron. Ask the ministry that hid books. Ask the startup that faked traction. Write this down. Neglect of values disables vision. Always. The smallest compromise will become the loudest siren, because the kingdom runs on righteousness, right alignment before acceleration. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. Ordered means aligned, not hurried. Engine 3 is velocity. When? Speed, master safety, pace that protects people and product. Velocity is not as fast as possible. It is as wise as necessary. Ecclesiastes 3:1 announces. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. Purpose has timing. The shepherd in Isaiah 40:11 gently leads those that are with young. That's velocity. He matches pace to the most vulnerable in the flock. Write this down. Love determines speed. If your speed endangers your people, it is not leadership. It is lust for outcomes. Speed is a good servant and a terrible master. Jesus moved quickly to heal, but slowly to choose the 12. He delayed for Lazarus for purpose. He hurried through Jericho to keep a divine appointment. He was never late. He was never driven. Velocity must be governed by sight and values, not by anxiety or applause. He that believes shall not make haste. Isaiah 28:16. Faith sets cadence. Fear sets panic. Put the three together so you can test yourself tonight. Vision says map where we're going. Values say morals, how and why we go. Velocity says metronome when we move. Say it with me. Map, morals, metronome. Again, map, morals, metronome. Who's the leader among these three? No one and everyone. The GPS without guardrails is dangerous. Guardrails without a destination are oppressive. A metronome without either is madness. All three must submit to one another for safety. That is functional leadership. That is kingdom order. Now, measurement. Write this down. Fruit over fans. Leaders are known by outcomes, not optics. Jesus said, by their fruits you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruit is measurable. You can weigh it, taste it, count it, seed it, and plant it again. Fans are countable but not transformable. Stop reporting noise. Start reporting nourishment. So create measures aligned to your vision, values, and velocity. If the vision is reduce client wait time by 40% in 12 months, then measure cycle time every 30 days. If a church vision is launch 2 community centers by Q4, measure permits approved, volunteers trained, funds assigned, families served, not just Instagram likes. If your family vision is debt-free by December next year, measure monthly principal reduction, not the goosebumps you felt after a webinar. Write this down. Enthusiasm is not evidence. Arrival is evidence. And safe arrival is the only evidence God celebrates. Values must be measured too. How do we test integrity? Audits. 2 signature policies. Clear conflict of interest statements. Healthy Sabbaths. Mandated in calendars. Matthew 12:33 says, make the tree good and its fruit good. Don't just inspect fruit. Improve roots. If your numbers go up while your people burn out, that fruit is bruised. Your velocity is violating your values. Slow down. Adjust. Protect the people in the back seat. Shepherds count sheep, not selfies. Velocity can be measured by recovery, not just reach. Write this down. True pace preserves margins. How many vacations were taken? How many errors decreased as we increased output? What is the error rate per sprint? Did marriages stabilize as programs multiplied? If expansion equals exhaustion, your metronome is off. God drove enemies out. Little by little, Exodus 23:30. That is a divine pace. Sustainable, generational, safe. Let me give you a simple field test for the next 30 days. Every meeting you lead or attend, start with vision in 1 sentence. Rehearse the values in 1 minute, what we will not do to get there. End with velocity, what we will do by when. Match to people's capacity. Then attach 2 measures, 1 fruit metric, 1 health metric. If you do this consistently, culture will shift from charisma to clarity. Write this down. Repetition makes culture. Measurement makes maturity. Say this with me. Seal it in your spirit. Vision is our map. Values are our guardrails. Velocity is our metronome. Fruit is our proof. Again, louder. Vision is our map. Values are our guardrails. Velocity is our metronome. Fruit is our proof. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments require addresses, protections, and pacing. When you install these 3 engines, you will not just move. You will arrive together, on time, intact. And that, my friend, is leadership. And I'm going to put a tool in your hand you can use tonight. Not next month, tonight. Write this down. Questions are guardians. They protect your life from vague leaders and protect leaders from vague living. Here is your 7-question destination checklist. If a leader, boss, pastor, date, or even the voice in your own head cannot answer these with clarity and calm, slow down. If they refuse to answer, walk away. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no, no, Matthew 5:37. Clarity is kingdom culture. Question 1. Where exactly are we going? Name the future in 1 sentence without slogans. Write this down. Poetry is not a plan. If I ask where, and you say to the next level, that's a stairwell without a room. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. Plain means placeable. Launch 2 learning centers in Oakview and Southgate by serving 200 teens weekly. That's aware. Reduce our family debt to 0. That's aware. Cut client wait time from 21 days to 12. That's aware. If the destination can't be broadcast on the airplane before takeoff, the pilot should not taxi. Question 2. By when? Give a date or horizon. No endless someday. Write this down. Deadlines are lifelines. Habakkuk continues, the vision is for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it. Habakkuk 2-3. Appointed means calendared. If there's no time, there will be no traction. Q4 this year, December 31 next year. 18 months from project start. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says there is a time to every purpose under heaven. Purpose without time becomes presumption. If you hear God's timing used to baptize laziness or indecision, you have a fog machine. Faith doesn't remove clocks. It redeems them. Question 3. For whom specifically? Who wins? And how will they feel the wind? Write this down. If it doesn't bless someone measurable, it's just noise. Jesus announced his target market. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me to preach good news to the poor, recovery of sight to the blind, liberty to the captives. Luke 4:18. Clarity about beneficiaries keeps leaders honest. Our primary win is single parents in zip codes 33127 and 33142, measured by monthly hours of after-school coverage and stress reduction surveys. Our church strategy centers new believers, measured by foundations, class completion, and healthy small group. Integration. If the for whom is everybody, it'll end up being nobody, and the loudest few will hijack the bus. Question 4. At what cost and risk? Resources, trade-offs, and red lines. Write this down. Counting the cost is not unbelief. It is obedience. Jesus said, which of you, intending to build a tower, does not sit down first and count the cost? Luke neliatoista, cox cumentakadexan. Cost is cash, time, attention, and credibility. Risk is what could break if this doesn't go as planned. Red lines are the borders we will not cross to get there. Total budget cap, $420,000. No debt over 10% cash flow. No staff overtime beyond 2 weeks per quarter. No lying on metrics. No compromising safety. No neglecting weekly Sabbath. If the cost is foggy, but the shouting is loud, you are financing a fantasy. Write this down. Anything that endangers your marriage, your integrity, or your mental health is too expensive. Question 5. According to which values? List 3 non-negotiables that govern methods. Values are the rails that keep the train on the mountain. Micah 6-8 gives 3. Do justly, love mercy, walk humbly. Translate them to your context. We tell the truth over optics. We choose people over pace. We practice stewardship over spectacle. Psalm 15 asks, Lord, who may dwell in your sacred tent? Then it describes the values. Speaks truth, keeps an oath even when it hurts, refuses a bribe. Write this down. Values are not posters. They are pre-decisions. If values are mushy, methods will be manipulative. Ask for 3. If you get 15, none are real. If you get 1, it's probably win at all costs. Run. Question 6. How will we measure fruit? And when will we review? 3 metrics. 1, review rhythm. Jesus gave you the law of evaluation. By their fruits you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruit is not applause. It is outcomes. Pick 2 outcome metrics and 1 health metric. For a business, revenue per employee, cycle time per order, staff turnover under 8%. For a ministry, baptisms quarterly, counseling wait time under 2 weeks. Volunteer retention at 70%. For our family, debt principal reduction monthly, weekly, family meal count, sleep averages. Proverbs 27-23 commands. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks. Schedule the check. First Monday of every month at 4 p.m. Write this down. What you don't review, you don't respect. If reviews keep moving, the truth is being moved out. Question 7. Who is accountable to whom? And what triggers a stop or resignation? Authority with brakes. Write this down. Safety is in the stops. James 3:1 says, teachers will be judged more strictly. That means higher clarity, tighter brakes. Who can tell the leader no? What data freezes the project? What violation removes a person from the wheel? Predetermine the triggers. 2 consecutive missed milestones without credible cause triggers a pause, an external review. Any cooked numbers triggers resignation and public correction. Any value breach, sexual misconduct, financial deceit triggers immediate removal and counseling. No platform. In Acts 15, apostles convened to judge doctrine and direction, shared breaks. In Galatians 2:11, Paul opposed Peter to his face, functional accountability. Who's the leader of the breaks? Say it with me. No one and everyone. The board can stop the pastor. The finance team can stop the spend. The spouse can stop the calendar. The metrics can stop the myth. If there is no stop rule, you are already in danger. Let me give you a picture. A young couple, Marcus and Elise, sat at their table tonight and ran these 7 on a dream to flip houses. Where? 2 properties in Cedar Park. By when? One by October 30. The second by March 31. For whom? First-time buyers under $300,000. Cost and risk? $160,000 capital cap. 0 high-interest loans. Protect weekends for our kids. Values, honesty, safety, Sabbath. Measures? Days on market. Profit margin per property. Stress scores. Accountability and stops. Missed budgets trigger pause. Kids stress up for 3 weeks, trigger slower pace. Any corner cutting stops everything. That night they slept in peace. Why? Sight, then steps. Lamp, then path. That's kingdom order. Now, hear my love and my warning. If these 7 answers are missing or mushy, do not give years, give questions, or give distance. Do not pay tuition to a foggy future. Reduce the noise. Refuse the rush. Require the route. Say it with me. I will not finance fog. Again, louder. I will not finance fog. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments require addresses, protections, and pacing. Use this checklist with your pastor respectfully, your boss wisely, your date courageously, and yourself honestly. Tonight, print it. Put it on your fridge, your meeting agenda, your journal. Because clarity becomes culture only when you practice it on purpose. And when you practice clarity, you protect your life, your family, and your community from charisma without a compass, so we can all arrive together on time intact. Now, let's put the filter in your hand where the rubber meets the road. Write this down. A true leader carries a map you can see, share, and scrutinize. Not a mood, not a vibe, a map. Say this with me. Clarity is my safety. Charisma is not my steering wheel. Again, clarity is my safety. Charisma is not my steering wheel. Megaphones amplify sound. Maps allocate steps. Vision is more important than leadership, because if you cannot see, you should not steer. Jesus asks a terrifying question. Can the blind lead the blind? Shall they not both fall into the ditch? Luke 6:39. Ditches don't care about decibels. They respect direction. Here is your first exam, the clarity test. Ask them to draw the map phases, milestones, and measures on 1 page. 1 page. Write this down. If it won't fit on 1 page, it won't fit in one brain. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. Plain means page. Ask for 3 things on that page. Phases, how this unfolds in order. Milestones, what must be achieved by when. Measures, how we will know we hit it. A real leader will reach for a whiteboard or a napkin and give you a road. A false leader will reach for a playlist and give you a feeling. I sat with a startup CEO. I said, phase? He said, hypergrowth. I said, milestones. He said, crush it. I said, measures. He said, we'll know in our spirits. I said, draw it. He turned up the music. Write this down. If they cannot draw it, they cannot drive it. Do not put your children in that car. Second, the compression test. Can they explain it to a 15-year-old in 2 minutes? Not 20, 2. Jesus taught fishermen in ocean language, farmers in seed language. The kingdom of heaven is like a net, like a seed, like yeast. Matthew 13. Paul wrote, unless you utter by the tongue words easy to understand, how shall it be known what is spoken? 1 Corinthians 14:9. Simplicity is not stupidity, it is mastery. Bring in your niece, bring in your son, bring in the intern. Say, explain where we're going to her in 2 minutes. Start the clock. If the explanation inflates with jargon and deflates with you know what I mean, you don't have a plan, you have poetry. I asked the pastor to compress his plan. He said to my assistant's teenage daughter, we will catalyze a synergistic eschatological momentum. She blinked. I said, 2 minutes. He tried again. We're going to open 2 tutoring centers by September, so 200 teens pass algebra. She smiled and said, I could help with that. Write this down. If a teenager can't repeat it, adults can't run it. Third, the consistency test. Ask 3 followers separately. Do their maps match the leader's map? Don't ask on stage, ask in hallways. Where are we going? By when? How do we win? If you get 3 different destinations from the same organization, you are not in a movement, you are in a murmur. Habakkuk says that he may run who reads it, not that he may guess it. Unity of map creates velocity of movement. In Acts 2, they were all with one accord in one place. Acts 2:1. Accord means agreement, not volume. I tested a nonprofit. I asked the CFO. He said, sustainability. I asked the program lead. She said, expansion to 3 cities. I asked the volunteer coordinator. She said, we're pausing to rebuild culture. 3 maps, 1 bus. That bus is going nowhere safely. Write this down. If the people closest to the engine don't share the same destination, everyone in the back seat is in danger. 4th, the correction test. How do they handle challenge? Teachability is a compass. Defensiveness is a fog machine. Proverbs 9:8-9 says, rebuke a wise man and he will love you. Give instruction to a wise man and he will be wiser still. Proverbs 12:1 is blunt. Whoever hates correction is stupid. That's the Bible's word, not mine. Acts 18:26 shows Apollos mighty in scripture, receiving correction from Priscilla and Aquila and becoming more accurate. That's leadership. Power with a map that can be edited by truth. Try this. Present a gentle, database objection. What if our staff turnover means our pace is wrong? What if this budget puts Sabbath at risk? Watch for 3 behaviors. Do they slow down to listen? Do they surface data? Do they adjust the map or explain the guardrails? Or do they gaslight, grandstand, and guilt trip? Write this down. Leaders absorb light. Manipulators hide from it. If a question triggers shaming or a sermon about touch not God's anointed to silence review, you just found a fog machine. Turn it off. Walk away. Let me give you a living parable so you can feel this. Maria leads a church team. On 1 page, she draws. Phase 1, lease 8,000 square feet by June. Milestone, permit approved by April 15. Measures, seats available per service. Counseling wait time under 2 weeks. Phase 2, train 40 mentors by August. Measure, 70% retention. She explains it to her. 1 5-year-old son. We're making a safe study hall and tutoring so teens pass math and feel loved by God. 2 centers open by September. You'll help set up desks. Her worship leader, her administrator, and her youth director act separately, say the same sentence. When a volunteer raises, we're tired. Maria looks at the health metric, says we slow 2 weeks, recruit 5 more, protect Sabbath, and adjust the pace. That's a map you can see, share, and scrutinize. That is safety. That is shepherding. Now contrast. A founder with a megaphone shouts, we're taking the city. Asks for the 1-page map. He waves a brochure. Asks the 15-year-old to understand. He says, this is for mature ears. Asks 3 team members. One says IPO. Another says world peace. The third says we wing it. Offer correction about burnout. He replies, you don't have faith. That is not leadership. That is theater. Write this down. Volume is not vision. Decibels don't equal direction. Who owns the map? No one. And everyone. The leader carries it. The people confirm it. The values protected. The measures reported. That's distributed leadership. A $4 feedback loop can save a $4 million initiative. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. And your work deserves a map. Stop renting your life to unclear people with loud equipment. Say it with me. Clarity is my safety. Charisma is not my steering wheel. From tonight on, practice the 4 tests before you give loyalty, money, or years. Draw it, compress it, cross-check it, correct it. If it passes, accelerate with joy. If it fails, reduce the noise, refuse the rush, require the route. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments travel by light, not lightning. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119 to 105. Lamp first, path next. Map before megaphone. So we all arrive together, on time, intact. Write this down. Structures save souls. Not just sermons. Not just songs. Structures. We have a map. Now we must install the guardrails and the brakes so the map cannot be hijacked by moods, titles, or monsters in suits. Say with me, no one and everyone. Again, louder. No one and everyone who keeps us safe. No one person and everyone functioning. Paul said, the body is not one member but many. The eye cannot say to the hand, I have no need of you. 1 Corinthians 12, 14, 21. That's functional leadership. Leadership is not rank. It is responsibility for a result. The usher leads hospitality where she stands. The finance clerk leads stewardship where he sits. The teenager running the live stream leads reach where he clicks. Everyone is a leader in their area of functioning. That's how the kingdom moves. That's how a family survives. That's how a company avoids ditches. Let me bring back our car. A $60,000 engine can be silenced by a $4 ground wire. Write this down. Protect the smallest function or stall the largest vision. In God's design, the little is lethal when neglected. James says the tongue is a small member but steers the whole body like a rudder. James 3-4-5. In the same way, a small truth-telling mechanism or the lack of it will decide if your map becomes a miracle or a morgue. If the person charged with checking seatbelts in your organization policies, integrity, Sabbath, has no authority to stop the car, then your speed is suicidal. That's why wise leaders share brakes. In the multitude of counselors there is safety, Proverbs 11:14. Safety is a structure, not a feeling. So we install brakes. Who can say stop? Put it in writing. Not vibes, not you know me, paper, policy, triggers. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. Write this down. Safety lives in pre-decisions. Before you launch, codified, stop rules. 2 missed milestones without credible cause triggers a pause and review. Any values breach, lying on reports, harassment. Financial deceit triggers removal and restitution. Stress indicators above agreed thresholds trigger a pace reduction. Sabbath violations beyond 2 weeks trigger time off. Who pulls those brakes? Name them. The board freezes spend. The safety officer stops the event. The HR lead suspends access. The spouse can reclaim the calendar. The metrics can halt the myth. If only the top microphone has brakes, you've built a runaway bus. Exodus 18 gives us a model. Jethro told Moses, select capable men and appoint them as officials over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. Exodus 18:21. Why? So justice and judgment could be shared. So breaks existed at every level. No one man's mood decided 1,000,000 lives. Next, transparency rhythms. Write this down. Secrecy breeds seduction. Light builds trust. Jesus declared nothing is hidden that will not be disclosed. Luke 8:17. John wrote, if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship. 1 John 1-7. Make light a rhythm, not a rescue. Open dashboards, 3 numbers everyone can see every Monday at 9 a.m. Shared minutes publish meeting decisions within 24 hours with owners and due dates. Rotating chairs, different qualified leaders facilitate the same meeting on a monthly rotation with the same agenda framework. Why? Because chairs teach power to sit in different bodies, and power that moves is power that's safe. When minutes are shared, seduction loses its whisper. When dashboards are open, illusions lose their makeup. When chairs rotate, charisma learns manners. Write this down. If information is a privilege, manipulation will be a practice. Make truth common property. Now, succession and cross-training. If one person is the plan, you don't have a plan, you have a hostage situation. Say it with me. No indispensable heroes. Again, no indispensable heroes. Elijah had Elisha. Moses had Joshua. Jesus sent the 70, then the 12, then the 3. He was always building redundancy. Paul told Timothy, what you have heard from me, entrust to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. 2 Timothy 2:2. That's 4 generations in one sentence. Write this down. Leaders who don't duplicate themselves are not leaders. They are liabilities. Cross-train roles. 2 in a seat for key functions for 90 days every year. Forced vacations. If the system collapses when they rest, you have exposed idolatry and ignorance. Run the bus test. If the driver vanishes for 30 days, does the vision keep moving safely? If not, you failed stewardship. God designed Sabbath not to make you holy looking, but to reveal if your structure is holy, set apart from dependence on one individual. He makes me to lie down, Psalm 23:2. If your team cannot lie down without lying to numbers, you have built a golden calf of performance. Let me make it concrete. A church decides every quarter the lead pastor rotates out of pulpit and chair. 3 trained elders preach the map, the values, and the measures, same notes, same outcomes. The finance team posts an open dashboard, given by category, spend by category, reserves, missional outputs, monthly, public. The ops lead runs fire drills. Who steps in if I'm out? The youth director shadows the service director twice a month. The service director shadows the youth director twice a month. A red team committee, 3 wise, non-staff members, meets quarterly to challenge assumptions with love and data. All of it codified. All of it calm. That church will not be hijacked by a scandal, a sickness, or a superstar. Why? No one and everyone. Let me warn you with love. If your leader fights breaks, he is confessing his fear of light. If your culture resists dashboards, it prefers myths to maturity. If you hear only I can do it, you just heard the language of Pharaoh, not a shepherd. Write this down. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. Leadership is born when toleration ends. End the toleration of secrecy today. End the toleration of single points of failure today. End the toleration of unclear stop rules today. I am training you to love people by protecting them and esteem the $4 wire. Celebrate the smallest function. Audit the quiet roles. Reward the person who closes the loop, checks the form, runs the backup, asks the awkward question. They are not in the way, they are the way. Paul says, those parts of the body that seem to be weaker are indispensable. 1 Corinthians 12:22 NIV. Indispensable. That receptionist who logs the counseling wait time is saving souls. That junior engineer who flags a safety bug is saving lives. That intercessor who watches the pace and says we need to rest is saving marriages. Write this down. Applause is often loudest for the stage, but God's audit favors the small. So here is the creed for your house, your team, your church. We share sight. We share stops. We share seats. We share stories. Say with me. We share sight. We share stops. We share seats. We share stories. When everyone leads in function, no one can hijack the vehicle. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments deserve structures that protect destinies. Build the guardrails now, and you won't need to build a memorial later. Now let's bring the same filter into the places where most people get hurt. Not on a board, but on a date. Not on a stage, but at a kitchen table. Not at a conference, but in a cubicle. Write this down. Apply one filter to every domain. Ask where and require the map. Say it with me. One filter protects all domains. Again, one filter protects all domains. Dating first. I love you enough to tell you the truth. The number one reason people waste years is because they don't ask the destination at the beginning. If a date can't answer where, marriage or not, by when, with what values, you have enough data to slow down or walk away. Amos asks, can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Amos 3:3. Agreement requires a destination. Ask plain questions. Where are we going? Marriage or recreation? By when? What horizon? Not a decade adrift. According to which values? Faith practice, fidelity, family planning. How do you handle money, debt, giving, saving, budget? What are your non-negotiables? Sex boundaries, honesty, church, children. Who can tell us, stop a mentor, a couple we submit to, a calendar that protects purity? Write this down. Fog and flattery are a Jezebel perfume. You're my destiny without a date is lust wearing a prophecy. Let's just see where this goes. It's a bus with no brakes. 2 Corinthians 6:14 warns, do not be unequally yoked. Yokes have destinations. If they say, don't bring pastors or parents into this, that's isolation. If they say, we must move fast or lose the moment, that's urgency. If the standards shift each week, that's moving goalposts. If questions get punished, gaslighted, shamed, silent treated, you found a red flag bigger than the ring, write this down. Love tells the truth up front, and truth travels with a calendar. Family next. Vision is more important than leadership, even in your house. Before you ask your kids to obey, give them a destination to belong to. Joshua declared, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Joshua 24-15. Translate that into a home vision statement. You write, sign, and review. How do we treat conflict? We speak truth without violence. We pause when hot. We reconcile before sleep. Ephesians 4:26. How do we treat money? We tithe. We save 10%. We budget monthly. We don't hide purchases. How do we treat faith? Daily scripture at breakfast, church as a family, service monthly. How do we treat time? 3 family dinners a week. Phones off at table. A weekly Sabbath rhythm. Put it on the fridge. Sign it like a covenant. Review it every month. Assign measures. Dinners logged. Budget reviewed. Screen hours tracked. Sabbath protected. Deuteronomy 6-7 says, teach these diligently to your children when you sit, walk, lie down, and rise. Write this down. Families fail quietly when they fail to agree publicly. If your teenager can't repeat the house map in 2 minutes, your home is led by momentum, not mission. Don't shout, show the map. And give your spouse breaks. If I miss 2 family nights in a row, you can reclaim the calendar. Safety is in the stops. Church, I have been a pastor for many years. Let me protect you. Jesus didn't like crowds. He discipled a few and fed many. Do not measure a church by volume of sound or size of stage. Ask where. What is the mission in one sentence without slogans? What is the discipleship pathway? How does a new believer grow here? Step by step. Our finances, transparent annual reports, independent review, open dashboards. Who can correct the pulpit, the elders, the board, and external counsel? Acts 2:42 says, they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, in the breaking of bread and in prayers. That's a pathway. Acts 17:11 praises Bereans for examining what they heard. 2 Corinthians 8:21 insists on what is honorable, not only in the Lord's sight, but also in the sight of men. Write this down. If your church punishes questions, hides budgets, glorifies a personality, and runs perpetual urgency campaigns with moving goalposts, that's not revival. That's a risk. Who's the leader? No one. And everyone in their function asks to see the map. If all you get is a megaphone, save your giving and your children. Workplace. You were created to lead and designed to dominate with excellence at work. Colossians 3:23 says, whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord. Leadership is not your title. It's your clarity of contribution. Ask your manager for the team's OKRs. What are the 3 objectives this quarter? And what are the key results that prove we hit them? Ask for decision rights. Who decides what by when? Product, budget, hiring. Ask for exit criteria. What triggers a stop, a pivot, or a kill for a project? Ask for review rhythms. When do we check progress? Weekly, bi-weekly. Proverbs 27:23. Be diligent to know the state of your flocks. Daniel had an excellent spirit. Daniel 6:3. Because he could be trusted with definition, not drama. If your company demands hurry without a horizon, secrecy without safety, and loyalty without limits, write this down. Get clarity or get distance. Document your map. Offer the one-page plan. If they punish clarity, protect your mind and your future. Let me name the universal red flags so you can train your eyes. Write this down. 6 signals of a ditch. 1, isolation. Don't bring others in. 2, secrecy. Need to know only. 3, urgency. Act now, think later. 4, moving goalposts. The wind keeps changing. 5, punishment for questions. How dare you ask? 6, personality worship. Only they can do it. Jesus said, by their fruits you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. These are rotten roots. Run. Tonight, apply the same destination test everywhere. Date with a map. Parent with a map. Worship with a map. Work with a map. Say it with me. Reduce the noise. Refuse the rush. Require the root. Louder, reduce the noise. Refuse the rush. Require the root. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments deserve directions. When you ask where and require the map, you don't just protect a schedule. You protect your soul, your children, and your community. And when you protect them, God can trust you with more. We have tested them. Now I want to test you. All night you've been holding up the map to others, dating, family, church, workplace. Good. Now turn the map into a mirror. Write this down. Stop renting your life to unclear people. Become the clear voice your domain needs. Say it with me. I am done being impressed. I require direction. Louder. I am done being impressed. I require direction. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments don't float. They are sent. Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you. Appointment means destination attached to identity. That's you. Vision is more important than leadership. I said it. Write it down. If you don't know where you're going, you have no right to ask anyone to follow. Genesis 1:26 is still the manufacturer's intent. Let us make man in our image and let them have dominion. Dominion means govern your domain. Your domain might be a classroom, a kitchen table, a code base, a neighborhood, a youth team, a clinic, a studio. You carry vision for a domain, not a fantasy, an assignment. Ephesians 2:10 declares, we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them. The works exist already, waiting for your walk. Write this down. Purpose precedes your appearance. Your arrival is a response to a need. Now hear me with love. Your job is what they pay you to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Say it with me. My job is a skill. My work is my gift. Again, my job is a skill. My work is my gift. They can fire you from your job. They cannot fire you from your work. Romans 11:29 says, the gifts and calling of God are without repentance. That means non-revocable, permanent. If they downsize your position, your gift didn't shrink. It's waiting to be deployed. Employment is a check. Deployment is a calling. Write this down. Don't confuse busyness with deployment. Deployment is your gift organized to deliver value to others on purpose. True leadership is serving your discovered gift to humanity until fruit testifies for you. Jesus said, by their fruits you shall know them. Matthew 7:16. Titles don't prove leadership, fruit does. Let me adjust your attitude, because leadership is 80% mentality and 20% skill. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. The lion is not the biggest in the jungle. The elephant is. The lion is not the strongest. The buffalo is. The lion is not the tallest. The giraffe is. The lion is not the smartest. The baboon is. Why then does everyone move when the lion shows up? Attitude. The lion sees an elephant and says, lunch. The elephant sees a lion and says, eater. Your eyes announce size. Your belief assigns meaning. Write this down. You don't need more strength. You need a royal attitude toward your assignment. Believe you are sent, and strength will serve that belief. Gideon hid in a wine press as a victim. The angel said, the Lord is with you, mighty man of valor. Judges 6:12. God spoke to his attitude before he changed his circumstances. Your lion must roar before your jungle rearranges. I want you to end the season tonight. Leadership is born when toleration ends. Whatever you tolerate, you will never change. Stop tolerating confusion in your calendar. Stop tolerating fog in your friendships. Stop tolerating charisma with no compass in your church. Stop tolerating urgency with no horizon at work. Write this down. When you end toleration, you begin transformation. Israel stayed in Egypt for 400 years until toleration ended. Rosa Parks sat because toleration ended. David faced Goliath because toleration ended. When you decide no more drift, the leader in you stands up. Say with me. The world needs my clarity. I will not finance confusion with my time. Again, louder. The world needs my clarity. I will not finance confusion with my time. You say, but doctor, where do I begin? Begin where God began, with identity, then vision, then voice. Identity, you are image and likeness. Repeat, I am image. I am likeness. Vision. Ask, where is my domain supposed to be in 12 months because I exist? Not everything your field. Write this down. Focus is the hallway your assignment walks through. Voice. Speak the destination plainly to those who must run with you. Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. Plain means page. Tonight, write one sentence for your domain. 1. This year our house will. This quarter my team will. This semester my classroom will. Keep it simple enough for a 15-year-old to repeat. If a teenager can't repeat it, adults can't run it. Some of you are waiting for permission. Listen to your king. Go therefore and make disciples of all nations. Matthew 28-19. That is authorization. Some of you are waiting for a sign. Your breath is your sign. Psalm 150:6 says, let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Breath authorizes motion. Some of you are waiting for a crowd. Jesus ran from crowds and built 12. Start with 2. Start with 1. Leaders don't seek followers. Followers are attracted to leaders. Fruit attracts. Clarity attracts. Service attracts. Write this down. Don't announce produce. Produce, then announce. I used to sleep on the floor and iron my shirt with a pot. No title, no platform, but I had a sentence. I taped Genesis 1:26 above my bed and said it until my bones believed it. I served my gift to 10 people until it served 100. I served 100 until it served a nation. They invited me to boardrooms because my map produced fruit, not because my megaphone was loud. Your story will be the same. Why? The manufacturer doesn't discriminate. He only asks for faith and faithfulness. Here is your inner covenant. Write this down, then say it aloud. I resign from impressible followership. I accept deployment. My gift will serve. My map will speak. My values will protect. My pace will preserve. No one and everyone. In my house, in my team, in my circle, shared sight, shared stops, shared seats, shared stories. Say it with me. I am not an accident. I am an assignment. My job is what they pay me to do. My work is what I was born to do. The world needs my clarity. I will not finance confusion with my time. I bless your mind to think like a lion. I bless your tongue to make the vision plain. I bless your hands to build what you have written. And I charge your heart with this final decree. Reduce the noise, refuse the rush, require the route from yourself first. When you become clear, you become safe. When you become safe, God can trust you with people. And when God can trust you with people, your assignment becomes a culture, not a moment. Get ready. In the next 48 hours, we are going to turn this identity into a calendar and a covenant. But tonight, stand up inside, meet you, then lead you, then lead your world. Now we calendar it. Write this down. Clarity becomes culture only when you calendar it, codify it, and courageously enforce it. Say it with me. Calendar it, codify it, enforce it. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain, that he may run who reads it. Running demands dates. Plain demands page. And enforcement demands courage. This is your 4 8-hour protocol. Within 24 hours, conduct an audit of the top 3 leaders you follow. 1 at home, 1 at church, 1 at work. Book 330. Minute windows on your calendar right now. If they're not available for conversation, fine. Use what they have already said, written, or posted. Document. Don't debate. Write this down. Auditors don't argue. They capture truth. Ask and answer the 7 questions in plain language. 1. What is the stated destination? Where are we going in 1 sentence? 2. What is the map? What are the milestones and sequence to get there? 3, what are the values? What behaviors are non-negotiable on the way? 4, what are the measures? What numbers or evidences prove we're on track? 5, what is the pace? What's the speed that preserves people and quality? 6, where are the brakes? Who can say stop? Under what conditions? And how is that written? 7, what is the mutual off-ramp? How do we exit or adjust without shame if the path proves wrong? If any answer is missing or mushy, mark it unclear. If you hear fog, write fog. Proverbs 27-23 commands, be diligent to know the state of your flocks. Diligence documents. Within 48 hours, initiate one clarifying conversation, one meeting, or one email. No more vague loyalty. No more quiet resentment. James 2:17 says, faith without works is dead. Stop merely praying about confusion. Be active against it. Pray, then act in alignment. Here is your sample email. Simple, honoring, firm. Thank you for your leadership. To serve better, I'm summarizing our destination and plan on one page. Please confirm or correct by Friday. 1 destination, 1 sentence, 2 milestones, 3 steps, 3 values, 5 behaviors, measures, 3 measures, 3 indicators, 5 pace Sabbath, boundaries, cadence, 6 breaks, who can pause under what triggers, 7 off ramp, how we adjust if evidence redirects. I've attached the draft based on what I've heard. Grateful for your clarity so we can move safely and fast. Attach your one-page map of their stated destination. Serve them with clarity. Leaders love light. God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. 1 Corinthians 14:33. Peace has a plan. Now install guardrails where you lead. Write this down. Structures save souls. Publish your team values this week. 5 behaviors defined in sentences, not slogans. Example: we tell the truth early. We rest weekly. We count what matters. We correct in private. Decide in public. We honor breaks. Set quarterly review dates for the next 12 months. Put them on a shared calendar now. Define stop triggers before you accelerate. 2 missed milestones triggers a pause and review. A values breach triggers corrective action. Stress metrics, above threshold triggers pace reduction. Sabbath violations trigger time off. Assign the break holders by name and role. Board chair freezes spend. Finance lead halts procurement. Safety officer cancels an event. Operations lead pauses deployment. Spouse reclaims calendar. If family nights are missed twice, metrics can halt the myth. Matthew 5:37. Let your yes be yes and your no, no. Pre-decisions protect vision. If the brakes only live at the top microphone, you built a runaway bus. No one and everyone. Adopt a personal rule starting tonight. No major commitment without a map, measures, and a mutual off-ramp. Say it with me. No map, no meeting, no measures, no money, no off-ramp, no oath. Joshua 9 records leaders who made a treaty without due diligence and reaped years of pain. Don't be them. Decide this. I will not sign marriage, mortgage, ministry, role, merger without destination clarity, agreed evidence of progress, and a gracious exit if truth redirects. That's not fear, that's stewardship. Amos 3:3 asks, can 2 walk together except they be agreed? Agreement lives on paper before it walks in life. Share to protect. Write this down. Protection multiplies when it circulates. Send the 7-question checklist to your circle, your spouse, your small group, your department, your board. Ask 3 people you love to run the audit this week. Truth in community is safety at scale. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Make light a rhythm, not a rescue. Share dashboards, share minutes, share chairs. When clarity is common property, manipulation loses its market. Let me give you a parable from a manager I coach, fictional, to protect the guilty, true enough to save the wise. A product lead named Arya inherited a loud vision. We will disrupt the industry. No destination, no dates. She ran the 4-8-hour protocol. Within 24 hours, she documented fog in 5 colors. Within 48 hours, she sent the 1-pager. The CEO replied with 9 words, "This is what I meant but never wrote." That sentence saved 6 months and 7 salaries. They published 5 values, set quarterly reviews, named 3 break holders, and installed 2 off-ramps. 1 quarter later, they had fewer meetings, more decisions, and a team that could sleep. Write this down. Clarity is mercy. Mercy for your mind. Mercy for your marriage. Mercy for your money. Now, pray and act. Kneel tonight and say, "Lord, search me, write me, send me." Then stand and send the email. Kneel and ask for wisdom. James 1-5. Then stand and set the dates. Kneel and repent for tolerating confusion. Then stand and publish the values. Prayer is power. Planning is obedience. Nehemiah prayed with tears and built with timetables. Sword and trowel, spirit and spreadsheet. Heaven honors both. I charge you now with 3 declarations. Say with me. I calendar clarity. I codify clarity. I courageously enforce clarity. Again, stronger. I calendar clarity. I codify clarity. I courageously enforce clarity. You are not an accident. You are an assignment. Assignments deserve structures. Reduce the noise. Refuse the rush. Require the root. In the next 48 hours, the leader in you will convert revelation into reservation slots, conviction into clauses, and passion into protection. When you do, God can trust you with people, and people can trust you with pace. That is how destinies are preserved. That is how communities are kept safe. That is how the kingdom advances on purpose with a map.